Hi, I'm Sam Patterson, and this is CINESPRATIONS, the show where I interview people about their favorite movies and how they've influenced their life. Today, I'm here with a very special guest, my dad. So, can you tell us your name and your Hogwarts house?
Yes, my name is Chad Patterson, and my Hogwarts house is Hufflepuff.
Great. Now, the first question I want to ask you is what was the last movie you saw, and what did you think of it?
The last movie I saw was Sinners, directed by Ryan Coogler, starring Michael B. Jordan. I thought it was outstanding. I thought it was very scary, very erotic, which threw me for a loop. But also very symbolic of the time of the 1930s and what was going on with segregation at that time and just everything north and south, and it was just very, very cool. Coogler reached a almost Tarantino-esque level of cool with the, I know it's getting a lot of comparisons to Robert Rodriguez's From Dusk Till Dawn, which it shouldn't. I thought it was even cooler than that. Every moment, every shot, every piece of dialogue that pulled you in.
Do you think that that's an early contender for the Oscars?
Oh yeah, but I mean, when you're talking about Oscars in May, when you're talking about a director like Coogler, I mean, it's yes, you should definitely take it seriously. Just like, Denis Villeneuve last year with Dune Part 2. You're, even though the movie came out in late March, it's already a contender just because who's involved. So
Yeah. So now I'm going to ask you the letterboxed question.
Okay.
What would you say that your 4 favorite films are?
Whew. 2 of them are easy. 2 of them are simple. E.T. the Extraterrestrial, my favorite movie as a child and all the way up through my adult years. I love it to this day. It's a Wonderful Life by Frank Capra, directed by Frank Capra. Incredible movie. And I watch it every year, the Saturday before Christmas, and it still destroys me every time I watch it. I didn't realize this probably until this past year, but Moneyball, starring Brad Pitt, all about the Oakland Athletics, based on a great book. Love that movie. I know in my heart of hearts, because I'm a huge baseball fan, that it's not completely accurate. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. It's still a very well made movie and a very well written movie. I would be remiss if I didn't put a Coen Brothers movie in my top 4. So, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou would probably be my 4th best film.
That's a solid answer.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah. How would you say that those films have had an influence on your life?
I will start with It's a Wonderful Life, because I was not exposed to that movie until my 20s. Even though it's a black and white film. It is a movie about being grateful for all that you have. It is a movie about life experience of the normal human being. It really does teach you the lessons of taking stock in what you have, and that you really do have a wonderful life. You know what? I watch it every year at Christmas time, and it reminds me every year that I have to look around at everything that I have. You can't go wrong with that movie. If you're watching it and you don't feel grateful, there might be something. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is an amazing testament of imagination, which I think that everybody needs to have. The Coen brothers took Homer's Odyssey and made it into a 1930s film, and it is just absolutely beautiful. They take complex things like racism, they take that and make that part of the film and make that part of the Odyssey. Class warfare, the rich and the poor and the haves and the have-nots. That it's all covered in there, and it's about these 3 guys. They go on this journey looking for treasure. They're seeking the treasure. In reality, there is no treasure, but we all want to believe there is.
Right.
They did believe it so much they would follow this guy anywhere just because they wanted to believe in the dream, and I think we all want to believe in that dream. So no matter what happens to them, they follow a bank robber, they're eating horse, or whatever happens to them, you would go on that adventure every time. Thrill of the adventure. The imagination the Coen brothers use make that story into that adventure is awesome. Moneyball, movie that kind of snuck up on me. The first time I watched it was just on DVD. I didn't see it at the theater or anything like that. I had read the book. The Oakland A's are a very small market team in the major leagues, and so they had to figure out a way to compete with big market teams. They basically had a theory that there was value in lower rent players, I guess, lower value players, as long as those players could get on base. Instead of getting a guy who could hit 50 home runs and hit 280, let's just find a guy that can walk, and get on base. Basically spend less money, but still be competitive. And so that's the whole plot of Moneyball. How a general manager who was a former player, Billy Beane, who's played by Brad Pitt excellently in the movie. He's nominated for an Academy Award. He takes on this role of this former player who becomes a general manager who wants to reinvent how you build a baseball team. That to me is so interesting. The director and the writer got together and they made a movie interesting enough that I think you don't even have to be a baseball fan to appreciate it. You can watch it and still love it. It's got great performances. And then the joy of it is I'm a Detroit Tigers fan, so I am a smaller market team for the most part. I want to compete with the Yankees and the Dodgers and stuff like that. And so to see that happen, even though it's the Oakland A's, in this movie there's the montage where they go on a 22-game winning streak and they win the division. The score is so much of the movie, right? The musical score.
Yep.
And the score of this movie, it just hits you, even if you don't really care about the Oakland A's. All of a sudden you care about the Oakland A's.
Yeah.
Just one of those movies that makes you feel good about life, and it's the little guy. It's the little guy succeeding, so it's cool. I always love movies like that, because if you can find a movie, how it inspires me and how it will inspire me for the rest of my life is I'll watch that movie if I'm down, and it will, I love movies with hope, with hope and spirit. I think my four favorite movies, it's no accident that all of them inspire hope. All of them have this positive, feeling at the end that things are going to be okay. Things are going to go well. That brings us to the last movie, E.T. the Extraterrestrial. It came out in 1982. I was 11 years old. I saw it at the drive-in with my family back in the early 80s. Just going to the drive-in and, sitting on top of the car on our blankets, sleeping bags, and pillows, and in our pajamas. And this movie changed everything. Steven Spielberg directed a couple of movies before this, Jaws and Close Encounters, but this was the movie that really established him as the guy. I mean, he did Raiders of the Lost Ark the year before this, but this movie just transcended everything, and every family in America, had the toys and had had everything. But for me personally, my mom loved it so much. It was like this personal thing. And I think a lot of the reason was because Dee Wallace played a single mom in the movie, and she was raising two boys and a girl. My mom was a single mom for a couple of years and had divorced my dad. This movie mirrored my own life in a lot of ways. My dad was just kind of out of, we saw him every other weekend, but we didn't see him a lot. And he was just kind of out of the picture. And it was my mom holding the bag, and there was a lot of pressure on my mom. And you could see that in Dee Wallace's performance under a lot of pressure, trying to raise her three kids. Sometimes when I'm watching E.T., I get caught up more in the story of the family than I do the story of the alien. That says a lot about the script, and it says a lot about Spielberg's filmmaking, because I could have been just as enthralled to watch the story of those four people trying to live that life. That was what held that movie together. And Elliot was my age too, he was 11, I was 11, so to see that movie at that time was, and I had a red hooded sweatshirt that zipped up. I rode my bike everywhere, and I was Elliot, and I had an older brother who I probably called Penis Breath. There were a lot of similarities between Elliot's life and my life, and it was probably the most relatable movie. No, I never had an alien land, near my house and, come up to my house and live with me. But boy, did I want it to happen, all the time. I watch that movie probably about once a year as well. on average, and it's just as beautiful today as it was then, and it's hopeful, and it's about friendship, and it's about family, and it's about the bonds that can't be broken. I probably take a lot of crap for saying that's my favorite movie of all time. It's not even the movie that Spielberg made that people want you to say. If you don't say Jaws, or you don't say Raiders, or Schindler's List, then you're wrong. I just think that E.T. is so beautiful, and I would argue it's also one of John Williams' greatest scores too. It's absolutely beautiful, especially at the very end, the final shot. It makes me cry every time, and it's a beautiful movie. So those are my 4 movies. They're hokey, and they're they're full of hope and love, but yeah, they those are the 4 movies that I turn to, that I know that they're gonna make me feel every time I watch them, and that's what I want. That's what I want out of movies for the most part. I just want to feel something, and most of the time, what I want to feel is hope, and like that wonderment, imagination, and those 4 movies give me that.
For sure. What advice would you give to the viewers of this video?
First of all, the first advice I would give you is, if you haven't seen any of these 4 movies, then you should definitely see these 4 movies. Don't let others define what you think is a good movie. It's an absolutely beautiful art form, and it's one that we will talk about endlessly. I would say never stop watching them, and never stop fighting for them. Please keep going to the theater.
Oh, for sure.
Go to the theater to watch movies. Don't just settle to stream. Fantastic Four or Superman, they're all coming out this summer. Go see them at the theater. So that's my advice. Please keep going to the theater and fight for the movies that you love.
That kind of brings me to my final question before we wrap up.
Okay.
Is what upcoming movies are you most excited for?
Oh my goodness. Obviously, I just mentioned Fantastic Four. I was really impressed with Thunderbolts, the last Marvel movie to come out. Fantastic Four also looks great. I just saw the extended trailer for Superman, the newest one. It's James Gunn doing it. I trust James Gunn. I want to believe that it will be super. Yeah, I think I'm excited about superhero movies again. That will be cool. Ethan Cohen just directed a movie called Honey Don't. I watched a trailer for that the other day. Anytime any of the Coen brothers, whether they're alone or together, I want them to get back together. But anytime they make something, it's interesting and it's good. And so I definitely want to see that.
If you liked this video, we're going to be posting one every other week. So you can like and subscribe and stay tuned for that. So thank you for watching.